Dennis, behave yourself. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 105 of the Sophie Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one today is all about colour therapy. I'm going to go through a little book by Sue Lilly called Colour Therapy, which I've taken a load of notes from, but I feel like I've taken so many notes from this book that I've got too many notes. So I was thinking about something, because Austin Kleon, he's got these 3 books which I've done little podcasts of. One was called Steal Like an Artist, one was called Show Your Work, and the other one was Keep Going. And what I loved about his books were he's got tons of information in there, but he's distilled it into like bite-sized nuggets of wisdom, which I think is amazing. But he must have gone through months and months of rambling. So I feel like this podcast today about colour therapy might be like a stage 1 rambling, where I sort of ramble about colour therapy, and then maybe in a year's time or something I can do another one which is littler but more concise and stuff. But I'm still going to give it a go because I love this. The takeaway I've got from this book is that I will never look at colour the same way again. Colour is powerful. So I really think it's going to be a good little video, this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of the chapters, talking about what colour is and stuff like that, and then I'll go through each of the colours. So the colours we're going to look at is black, red, brown, orange, gold. Actually, I'll tell you what each of these means briefly before we jump in. So the takeaway that I got from reading the book was black is opposites and like about balance. But black's very good. I'll talk about it later. Red, life force. Brown, focus. Orange, creativity. Gold, confidence. And yellow, invigorating. Then we got green, harmony. Turquoise, expression. Blue is communication. Violet, healing. But it's like balance between physical and spiritual. Pink, what's that one? Supportive. And white, powerful. But the thing is, what I've noticed is all of these colours work together. So they're all the colours are in balance. And the main thing I took away from this book is balance, really. So that's basically what the topic's going to be. It's going to be really fun, I think, because, like I said, colour is so much more powerful than I thought. I thought colour was just a colour, but it's not. It's got an energy about it. Colour is energy. So that's what this book's all about, really, colour therapy. So that's what the podcast is going to be about today. Little Dennis is with us today. But he is, if you're watching on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson, you can see little Dennis is looking quite comfortable, tucked up in my dressing gown. So I'm going to leave him there for today, and instead, I've got one little thing. So tomorrow is my birthday, and so I'm recording this podcast on Thursday. I normally record on Fridays, but I'm recording this one on Tuesday the 2nd of April. Because tomorrow I'm going to be doing Reiki with my little Reiki healer, which I can't wait for. But I'm going to celebrate my birthday by eating chocolate cake. So what I love about having your birthday near Easter is all the Easter chocolates come out, and Cadbury's make this chocolate cake, which is lovely. It's called Mini Eggs Chocolate Gâteau. But there's something about this cake. It's one of these cakes I could eat. Well, each year I eat one of these all to myself in one sitting. And it's a big cake as well. But like, I feel like I could eat loads of these cakes, whereas lots of other cakes, I think I look at them and I think I'm going to eat all of that, you get a bit way through it and you don't want to eat anymore. But this one, there's something about this cake. So that's what tomorrow I'm going to have: cake for breakfast, cake for my lunch, cake for dinner, and I'll have a bit of cake before going to bed. So that's basically that. So let's get into this week's topic. What I'm going to do, I think, am I going to do that? Yeah, I think, well, you can find show notes, I think, at sophielawson.com, and I put a link to Sue Lilly, who wrote this book, because I went onto her website yesterday. There isn't any artwork on there, but she's got a section on her website which says art exhibition, and her husband, I think they do art exhibitions. So she's some sort of artist. I only quickly looked into her, Sue Lilly, because I thought I wanted to know what she's about. But she looks like a really cool character, because she's got like red hair. Yeah, she looks like a sort of person I would actually like to turn into a little character in a drawing. So she's quite funky, and that's basically it. What I'm going to do, I think, is put the camera above the desk and go through the book like that. So, like I said, if you go onto YouTube at youtube.com/something, Sophie Lawson, you'll be able to look inside, but you don't really need to be honest. You don't really need to. So let's get into this book then. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try not to ramble too much, but I'll go through my notes, just saying stuff. Then I'll go through the book, each little chapter, but really very quickly, and then I'll go through each of the individual colours, because she actually sums up each colour quite nicely in the book, and I've marked off little quotes in the book as well. So, but what I love about this book is because it's dealing with colour, it is very colourful, and each chapter like I said, the whole book makes you appreciate colour, because not just talking about it, but looking at all the colours. So I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to read the inside of the cover, because I think this is a nice little summary of what colour therapy is. So it says, right from when we are very small children, we learn to recognise objects by their colour. As we grow, we learn to appreciate and distinguish a huge range of very subtle nuances of colour. We often find that, amongst a plethora of tones and shades, there are certain colours and combinations that are especially pleasing to us. Likewise, some colours we avoid or ignore. These personal tastes are seldom examined to see how they have arisen or what they might mean. From the perspective of colour therapy and colour healing, such personal choices provide a wealth of information about the personality and well-being of the individual. Using the colour information in this book, you can learn how to introduce colours that will support or improve the activities of your day-to-day life, which I think is really nice. So this book it's all about colour as energy, really. So the first thing I thought to myself was, what I've noticed over the last few years, especially the last year, is humans are energy. And what happens is, because everyone's an energy, and energy is positive, and energy is a frequency between positive and negative. And so if each human is an energy, some humans are more negative and more positive, but it also means that if colours are energy, then colours are going to be affecting humans' energies. It's just really powerful. So straight away I was thinking, this is incredible, because what it means is, you could be going, when you're at this, it sums up so many things. Like when I'm with nature, I feel quite energised, and then around certain people I feel a bit negative sometimes. So it might even be that it's certain colours. Like you go to a workplace, and maybe the colours of the workplace are having negative energies on. basically what this book really did was, it's made me think about colours, not just about the colour of colours, but about the psychologicalness of colours. And also, what I love is I know when I'm doing my drawings and stuff, I'm gonna start thinking about colours, and also I'm going to use this book as like a reference. So let's say I'm drawing a character, and I want the character to be a bit. I want them to be, say, angry. Then I can look in this book and I can know there's a baby crying. I can know what sort of colours would help create the anger, but not just the colours of the character, like the clothes, but like the surrounding and stuff. So this is going to be really powerful, I think, in the future. And what I'm also going to do, after I've done this, I'm going to look online and research colour therapy more, because I'd like to get a sheet of paper with each colour on it, with just a few words about what each colour is in terms of colour healing and therapy. Print it out, and if I find that, I'll put it in the show notes. And if I can't find it, what I do is I'll create one myself and I'll put it in the show notes. But I'll try to do it for when the show notes go up, but it might not be able to. We have to wait and see. But let's get into the notes. So I'm going to quickly go through this, and it says, I was going to read, what have we got here? Energy always equals positive versus negative. Balance. One of the words that kept coming out in this book was balance. And it's balance between the colours, but also balance between the human and the colour. So you can use, if you're feeling certain ways, you can use colours to help balance you. So if you're feeling a bit, say you want to feel a bit more confident, you can use a colour to balance yourself, to make yourself more confident. But it says if you use too much of that colour, you need other colours to balance yourself out. So this whole thing is about balance, which again, it just sums up energy, because energy is all about balance. It's quite amazing, really. So I think what I'm going to do, we are relationships with colour. This is amazing. I'm going to just jump straight into the book, I think, because I'm going to jump straight into the book, and I'll go through my notes at the end if I feel like I've missed anything. So this book was done in 2001, and you got little Sue Lilly. She looks really cool. She looks oriental, but she's got red hair. Looks like a really nice character. So this book, it talks about, the main bits are colour, the healing energy all around us, recognising our reactions to colour. Like I said, a lot of this book is actually psychological stuff, which is quite fun. Using colour to bring about change, how to select colours for healing, how to use colour for healing, and then it goes into each of the colours, which is black, red, brown, orange, gold, yellow, green, turquoise, blue, violet, pink, white, and then we've got a little index. And the book covers things like crystals, which is fun if you want that. So what I'm going to do, the first bit is talking about how as children we're all about colour, basically. But it says something really fun in here. It said about how animals, not all animals see the world the same way. So what is it here? She said, the colour vision as we would recognise it is available to a small range of animals, including the octopus, tortoise and man. So what that means is, again, what this says to me is, every little animal is potentially seeing the world completely differently. So again, it makes you wonder, what is reality? If, let's say, well, I know that a bat sees the world via sound, I think. It sends out these sound waves or something. So straight away, the bat is seeing the world completely differently to how we do. So it goes back into that thing of what is reality if it's completely different to all the different animals. There's something down here about how everything is vibration. It says, she's talking about how colour, where is it? Each colour is a wavelength of light travelling at a different frequency of speed. Red, for example, has a slow, long wavelength that tends to energise chemical reactions. So she's talking about how colour is made up. She talks about how mixing colours in terms of art creates different colours. But she's also talking about how colours are made up of light as well. I remember that. I looked in a colour theory book, because I've been thinking colour theory is almost like explaining the rules of colour, how colours are on a colour wheel. Colour therapy is more about the feeling of colours. So it feels like the two things go together. And again, it's almost like with perspective, which I'm studying at the moment, he says on there that there's rules to perspective. So you learn the rules about how perspective works, but sometimes you'll do a drawing and the perspective will look better by doing it wrong. So then you're dealing with the rules versus feeling. It's quite cool. So I like that. There's two sides of everything, which is there's the rules of it, of how it's made up, but then there's the feeling side of it, which in a way is kind of like spiritual and science. Science is how things are made up, and then spiritual is just how things feel. And if you put them two together, that's how you get the balance. It says down here, I like this bit, it says, colours we reject indicate aspects of our life that we are unwilling to change or deal with, or energies that, in our present state, are felt to be inappropriate to our needs. So, it's making me think about colours that I've not really liked. And then I can start thinking, well, why don't I like these colours? Because I just thought, I don't like the colours because I don't like the colours. But maybe there's more to it than meets the eye, really. There's something in here which I loved, it talks about beliefs and society. So it talks about how your beliefs can change your relationship with colour. And in society, so she says about how in some cultures black symbolises death, but in other cultures white symbolises death, which I thought that was quite interesting, because again it goes back to the first chapter bit when she's talking about children. If you're a child in a place where black is seen as death, you might have a negative association with black, whereas a child in a place where black isn't associated with death might have a completely different relationship. So again, it just shows you how your world is kind of shaped before you're even born. Well, not before you're born, but before you're born, really. Because the first few years of our life, I don't think we're really born. We're sort of existing, but not alive. There's a certain point, I think, when we pop into existence, at which point we've already been sort of, conditioned into a lot of beliefs. That's why it's so hard to change as you get older, because these beliefs. But it says here, colour has two languages, a conscious language and an unconscious language, a language of energy and a language of symbol. I love that. This is where she talks about, she said something here, which she's, in this book she mentions the word vortex. And the only reason I thought about it was last week's podcast I was talking about entities, and I said there's this entity that keeps coming into my dreams and meditations, and it's putting out this wave of energy, but what it's doing is it's a vortex. When she said that, I realised it's creating a vortex of energy. So I just thought that was a bit interesting, because vortexes is energy. Vortexes is to do with energy. So what have I put here? There's a little quote I've marked off. It says, it is at this unconscious level that colour can be used to manipulate moods, attract or repulse, create tension or harmony, influence health and well-being. I like this because she's talking about how colour is affecting you unconsciously. So what I'm thinking is, when you're doing a drawing, if you know that certain colours are doing things unconsciously, you can start manipulating the moods of the viewer by playing with certain colours. This is going to be really powerful, because the person viewing it, they maybe wouldn't even be able to feel, they wouldn't understand why they're feeling a certain emotion, but you would know it's because you've been using colours. So it's kind of like mind manipulation, which is quite cool. There's this bit in here I liked as well. She talks about experiments. So I put that in my notes. I said there's loads of little exercises in this book that you can do, like fun little things. So like picking a random colour each day and seeing how you get on with it. And it could just be like getting, say, a little pink ribbon and putting it around your waist, or your, what's that called? Your wrist. Putting a little pink ribbon around your wrist. And then each day do a little colour. And then at the end of each day, write how your mood was. And then you can start seeing how colours are affecting you, which I thought was quite cool. But she said, if you're doing something, let's say you're going to a funeral or something, but you want a certain colour that isn't normally, like funerals are normally black, but let's say you want a funky colour, she said you could just, for instance, wear, say, a yellow pair of underpants. So nobody would know you're wearing them, but she said just having those yellow on you, it would bring that yellow energy to you. So, but it's really fun. There's loads of little things like this. She talks about like using coloured lighting. So get little light lampshades, change the colour of the lights in your room and stuff. Loads of, what's it got here? Crystals and flowers, supermarkets. Yeah, she talked about, I think that was in the society bit, she says how supermarkets, for instance, they'll place certain colours in certain locations, and they'll change the lighting in like the fruit and veg section to make the colours pop more. So they're basically, what's happening is people in higher places of society, like in supermarkets and stuff, they know the power of colour, so they are already using it to manipulate our emotions. And again, we don't realise what's going on. I love that about this book, because again, if you start becoming aware of what's going on, you'll be able to start noticing it, which is quite cool. I've put a little note here and it says little things equals big change. So that's kind of like the underpants thing. She says you don't need a lot of the colour, just have a little bit of it, which is quite cool. Body is alive, I've put. It says the body was, here we go, the body's need to release the shock. It says the body was instinctively demanding orange as a means to rebalance the body. I like this bit. In today's world, where we expect communication to be verbal and direct, it is easy to miss or dismiss the language our bodies express through colour. It's really cool. It's all about how, everything is in balance, which is cool. Accessories. Again, you can bring colour into your life with little things. Then she starts talking about how different colours relate to each other, which is fun. Again, more little exercises. So she's got a little exercise here where she says about picking some random colours, and she says the first colour choice indicates what is needed for the physical body. The second colour choice represents the colour needed to balance the emotions. Third colour choice for the mental process. Fourth colour choice for spiritual needs. So what you do is you randomly select 4 different colours, and then each of those colours will influence each of those things. So the first colour will influence the needs of your physical body. So what you would do is, again, use this as a reference, this book, and you can, if you picked out the colour yellow, for instance, you could look into that and you could say, oh, my body wants this, and then you can start doing things to help get yourself in balance. It's quite cool, really. Talks about churches and how they use lights with stained glass windows to create emotions. What's this here? A little quote. From outside, the colours seem strong and clear. what effect on the human energy system will such strong... Oh yeah. Yeah, what was she talking about? Oh yeah, she was talking about if you're outside at night, which I do quite a lot when I'm walking home from work, if somebody's watching a TV in their house, you can see the TV flashing all the lights. Like the whole room is lit up with these lights. And then she's saying here about what effect is that having on the human energy system, which with such strong projections of rapidly changing colour could have, even for an hour or so. So again, it's thinking about what we're doing, really, being mindful of what we're doing, because everything is colour, so it means everything we're doing is affecting us. It's quite cool. I like this as well. She's talking about visualising. So I'm going to start doing this with my meditations, visualising colours and seeing what happens. I was going to say, well, sometimes when I'm meditating, I see these, again, like vortexes of colour going outwards and inwards. It's always been like, it's as if it's a colour of smoke. But she's saying that you can actually visualise colours and that will have the same effect, which is quite cool. Thinking of a colour stimulates the body in an equivalent way to seeing it with the eyes, so using colour visualisation is an effective method for colour healing. Again, it kind of goes into everything they say about thoughts creating reality. Thoughts are really powerful. What's this saying here? Visualising a bright yellow in yourself and your surroundings will help to increase clarity of mind, decision making and ability to study. This was really amazing. One of the things I took away was brown and yellow are really good colours to have around you if you want, when you're focusing. So, for instance, again, when I'm studying, I'm going to surround myself now with yellows and browns, because later on we'll talk about it. She talks how this is good for focusing. So there's lots of things here which are going to help me, I think, with studying and stuff. She then talks about the chakras. Something interesting here. I thought there was only 7 chakras, but she says there's actually like hundreds. Yeah, there's many hundreds of chakras. So that's quite interesting. Talks about each of the colours. Oh, that's where she talked about the vortexes. Spinning vortexes. Where these channels of energy meet together, spinning vortex. So she's talking about the chakras. She says spinning vortexes of life force called chakras are formed, each one controlling specific functions in the individual's body and mind. So what I'm thinking is, that entity that I'm seeing, which is quite negative, it's got a feeling of negativity about it. If it's firing these vortexes at me, how do I not know? This is going to sound a bit weird. How do I not know that's firing a vortex at my chakras to try and put me out of balance? That really struck me when I read that. It was and again, spinning. Everything's always about spinning. It's because I think everything is about energy. So energy spinning is because positive and negatives. So there's a lot here about the chakras. She talks about each of the chakras in detail and stuff. She then talks about your environment, how different colours and stuff makes you feel nice. Again, I love yellow. Really like the colour yellow. She then talks about complementary colours, how to create a dynamic effect that enhances both colours. Really cool. Again, these colours are... It's weird. It's almost as if colour theory is a scientific way of explaining colour therapy. Quite cool. I've put a little note here and I've wrote interesting. What is it? Experimentation with harmless dyes has shown that it is difficult to eat. Oh yeah, she says about how, let's say you got a certain type of food, if it's coloured a different colour, you might not be able to eat it it's only because of the colour. It will still taste the same, it will still visually look the same in terms of shape, but because it's got a different colour, you now can't eat it. So it shows you the power of colour, which I thought was really cool. It can make it more appealing or less appealing, and then it goes into how supermarkets and stuff, they will dye food to make it a bit more of a nicer colour. So again, manipulation there, which is quite interesting. Then we got a chapter on crystals, which I love crystals. I just love the colours of them. I think it's cool. And it makes me wonder, imagine if out in space somewhere, there must be planets which are crystals. So like a big planet, for instance, which would be a rose planet, or like a pink planet. So you would land on it, the whole planet would be pink. And then the water would be pink, because the water is clear. So if everything's pink, the water would be pink. That would be amazing. So then you can have worlds, like I said, like we think, well, I seem to think all the planets would be like ours, because that's what we've got, but the planets could be completely different to what we could ever imagine, really. She then talks about scents, like smells, the power of smells and flowers, which was quite nice. Essential oils. I've got a little quote here that I've put the word balance on. It says, "Don't create a new imbalance by focusing too much on one type of energy at the expense of the others." I like that, because that's the sort of thing I would do. I tend to be somebody who swings either positively or swings the other way, but it's all about getting in the middle. So she says, if you find out and realise you need the colour pink, don't suddenly become all about pink, because then you would be out of balance. So you would go the other way. So that's basically the first sort of half of the book. It's talking about the power of colour, and to sum it up, it's really that colour is energy, and everything we're doing is related to colour. So it's about being mindful, really, of colours. So now we get into each of the little things about each colour. What I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to say the colour, and I'm going to read the little bits that she's put in the what's it called, the margins, and then at the end she does a little summary. So what's my feelings about black? My feeling about black is it's very mysterious, because you can't see shadows in it. So like, you've got a bloke here wearing a suit, you can't see his arms. So he becomes, with the colour black, it becomes one big shape, because all the details get lost. So black is quite powerful. I was going to say it's overpowering, but in this book they've got the yin and yang sign, so it shows that black with white is the balance thing. Black and white, the two opposites in balance. But she says black. Yeah, I like this. She was talking about how, like, black can either be seen as really negative, like, for instance, like, say, death, the void, nothingness, emptiness. But you could also look at that as amazing, because black, the void, the emptiness, is pure potential. So black is like the ultimate colour representing paradox, I suppose. That's what I thought. But she says here, the experience of black automatically gives a glimpse of white, because neither can stand in isolation. Again, it's like everything is related to each other. Yeah, it's like what I said a couple episodes ago. If you're dead, you can't be dead. If you're dead, you have to still be alive, because to be dead, you have to be alive. It's the same with this. Black, you need white. It's cool. I love it. Next thing, she says, wearing black clothes keeps someone safe from the unwanted attention of others. This creation of a protection shield allows the wearer to go unnoticed in their immediate surroundings. See, each chapter about the colours, she's talking about how wearing colours will make you feel different, but it's also talking about, like, mentally and spiritually, the colour, what the power of the colour. So she sort of talks about the colour as a colour, then the colour as a human, how we can wear it and stuff, then the colour as a spiritual thing. So she's put here, black at a mental level allows time out from stimulation and activity and encourages the free flow of thought without encouragement. And I've put here a little note and I said yes. It says, many people do not allow themselves enough quiet time to experience this aspect of the mind, which is the black, the voidness. It says, when attention is first turned within, there can seem to be a barrage of thoughts that some may perceive as to be an outside of themselves or as a result of some maleficent influence. That's interesting because it kind of goes into what I was saying about this entity. Maybe it is just me, don't know. And then she's got some crystals which are the colour black. Apparently there's tourmaline, smoky quartz and obsidian. I love the word obsidian. And then you've got little pictures of the crystals as well. She says, summary, to balance the black energy in your life, spend time alone, practicing being rather than doing or thinking about doing. And then she talks about the black crystals. There's a big bit in here about the shadow self as well with the black. And I've put here, the shadow self, negative and positive is black. So that's basically the colour black. We then move into the colour red. Super, what would I say? Very, sexual for me. Red. It's always been very sexual and powerful, confident. That's my thoughts about red. But she says here it's like the life force, because it's the red cross and blood. So red is like the colour of life, which is quite cool. She says, my little note, what did I say? Life force. She says here, red, symbolised by fire, has two facets. It can be a warming lifesaver or an uncontrollable destroyer. Again, we're dealing with how the same thing can be perceived differently. So like somebody might look at a fire and think, this is lovely. If you're freezing, it's lovely. If that fire gets out of control, it's like going to destroy you. It's quite funny, that. Then there's a baby crying, which is a bit weird. So she's put here red. No, she hasn't. She says right. So to the right, anger and passion especially have both traditionally been thought of as red. Wearing red clothing can help overcome the feeling of guilt about the red emotions we have. And then any direct expression of emotion is linked to the colour red. Red in the face has crept into everyday speech to reinforce this. She's talking about the emotions of red. Red is very emotional. Coffee and tea can both provide red energy. So if you're low on the red energies, coffee and tea helps. But again, too much increases irritability and can create addictive behaviour. So it's all about balancing. And then it says, wearing red, eating red foods or foods rich in minerals, exercising, releasing our strong feelings and occasionally... What is this? I've marked something off here and I don't know why. On a spiritual level, red reminds us that no matter how spiritually inclined we may be, we are dependent on the survival and well-being of our physical body as a tool with which to express that spiritually in the world. And then in summary she says, to increase or balance the red energy in your life, wear red clothes and eat red foods. Red crystals, we got garnet, red jasper and rubies. and activities, running and stuff like that. And it says, when mental energy is low, visualising red or eating red energy foods can help. And there's actually red fish here. So I never knew that there's actually red fish. You think there's fish that are red, like that you can eat. It's a bit weird. Colour brown, I love this one. Focus. So yeah, she says if you wanted to study or something, focus. The colour brown will help with that. It just so happens that I got a lot of brown in my room, so it's quite cool. She says brown is mainly associated with the colour of soil and resonates well with all aspects of our natural world. And then there's a brown crystal called Tiger's Eye, which is like a toffee colour. Oh yeah, she talks about chocolate in here as well. And then she says, introducing brown into physical activity occurs through nature-based actions like gardening. So get outside with nature. Brown is an excellent choice for surroundings involved with long-term study or logical thought processes. It helps ideas to become real. So very useful for the library or study or the visionary or inventor. So surround yourselves with brown. Brown is an excellent choice for, talking about that again. It helps ideas to become real. So very useful. There we go. Then she says chocolate is well known as a food that creates a feeling of well-being for many. But again, if you eat too much of it, you go pop. So yeah, that's the main thing really. This is about balancing your colours. Bring some logical thought into your life by using wooden furniture in certain areas of your home. That's quite cool. Actually, I didn't do that, did I, for the red? Yes, I did. On a spiritual level, red reminds us. It says here, on a spiritual level, brown suggests an ability to integrate with one's surroundings. This encourages us to be content with where we are and who we are, free from unrealistic wishes. I like that. It says here, this type of integration takes time, patience and effort. Like the primary colour components that create brown, this integration will represent all facets of life and personality. I like that. Now we're moving into orange. So with orange I said creativity. This one's about creativity. So there's a little quote here that I've marked up as sexy, and it says, the ability to create something real from our dreams, ideas and inspiration works through the orange energy. That's cool. And there's another quote here I've marked off. When a system becomes static or blocked, not only is constipation present on all levels, but there is a lack of creativity. See, this is quite cool. It's kind of saying if you're not being creative, your body knows. So you'll start to become constipated. But it's not just constipated in the bum, it's constipated in the mind as well. So it's almost like humans need creativity, I think. It's maybe like a visual way of processing thoughts. It's quite cool. Orange foods can help detoxify the body and help the flow of energy. And we've got some carrots. So maybe it's time to start eating carrots. Then she's got a little picture of an artist. We like artists. And she says, orange releases the creativity of artists. Musicians, artists and dancers all use a lot of orange energy. When creative energy gets blocked, it can be released by using orange. In other words, let's say you get, what's that called? The artist block. That thing where you're not feeling very creative. You could just munch on some carrots. Start munching on some carrots and it might bring creativity to your life. So I like that. That's quite cool. Then one of the crystals for orange is called carnelian. Carnelian, very bright colour. Crystals look like sweets. She says using flower essences made from marigold or Californian poppy will all help orange energy. So again, you could start sprinkling flowers onto your desk. So like you could just, this is what I'm saying, I love this, it's all about little things. Just get a vase with some flowers and it might just bring a little bit of energy into your life. It's quite cool. I've never really been into flowers, but I might start having a look. Wearing something orange will increase or balance the orange energy in your life. So it says, on a spiritual level, orange represents the subtle blueprint of our physical bodies, often referred to as the etheric layer, or that part of the aura that is closest to the physical body. I like this. In this layer, the model of our physical body is held. If our physical, emotional, or mental bodies become damaged, the ethereal does too. So again, we're talking about balance. Activities for orange is music, dancing, and any form of art. Activities for brown is walking, gardening, woodworking. That's cool. Activities for red, running, speed, and field sports. So red is very high paced, whereas brown is slow and gentle. That's cool. The next one, gold. I like the colour gold. It says here, the mineral gold has been sought after or fought over for centuries because acquiring vast amounts of it is indicative of wealth and status. In my little notes I said confidence. So gold, I felt like this summed up confidence. Creams made from gold-coloured flowers are used to heal minor damage to the skin. So talking about gold with the skin. Taking time out to play and have fun is an important part of gold energy. Again, it's about confidence and fun. Nice little quote here. So, what have we got here? One of the... Oh, she's not put the thing. The crystal citrine. That's quite magical looking. It's like a... It looks like... I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like a 4 or 5D shape. It looks like... This is amazing. There's a crystal, looks like it's got shapes within the shape, which is because after I did a podcast once a few episodes ago, and I was trying to work out what's it called? I think it's a Teslagrad. It's a 4D shape, and I was trying to work out what it looked like. It kind of looks like this crystal, so it's like a shape with shapes within it. So maybe there's something going on there with crystals. But it says, on a spiritual level, gold suggests a serene, wise and well-rounded personality. It is easy to assume that someone with gold energy at a spiritual level has it made, and there's nothing else to be achieved. However, like a swan on a pond, I loved this. Like a swan on a pond, the elegant vision of ease hides furious paddling. I love that because I've noticed that when I'm looking at the river, you'll see these little birds like ducks just bobbing along peacefully, but underneath that their feet are going like crazy. So it's like they look really peaceful, but they're putting loads of energy in. It's quite cool. And again, it's talking about if you've got too much gold, you're going to be out of balance again. There's something here. What did it say? We've moved on to the colour yellow. So yellow has an invigorating effect compared to the cosy shades of gold. The richest source of yellow is the light from the bright sun. And I put a little note here that says, don't stay home, because everyone's saying stay home. But it says, we can introduce yellow into our homes in many ways to help balance or increase yellow energy. So that says to me, keep your windows open and keep the light coming in. because I have a habit of pulling the blinds, so I don't let enough light in, I don't think. So, but she talks a lot more about these colours in chapters. I'm just going over them very quickly. She says, eat yellow foods such as bananas to help combat the pressures of living in the 21st century. Yeah, where was it? She said something really cool in here. Many people find themselves mentally and emotionally stressed. Many people who find themselves mentally and emotionally stressed can be so as a result of problems created by the physical imbalance of yellow. So again, if you're feeling like that, again, munch on some bananas. We work in artificial light, which is what I do a lot, often surrounded by electrical machines. All of this depletes yellow energy, and yellow energy is like what she says here. The bright, crisp yellow has an invigorating effect. So if you're not getting the yellow, you're gonna be feeling a bit. So yeah, you're gonna have to start eating bananas. Eat bananas, eat carrots. Tasty. I think that's it really. What have we got? Crystals, lemon. I was going to say Yemen. Lemon quartz. There's a really nice crystal here. It's yellow, but it's got a hint of purple in it, which is quite interesting because on the colour wheel, yellow and purple, they're the complementaries. So it's almost like nature has put them two together. It's quite cool. Colour green, harmony. I'm going to have to speed this up. This podcast is going to go on for ages. Our eyes are especially sensitive to all shade and tints of green. Green is in the middle of the visual spectrum and epitosis the qualities of balance and harmony. I love green. This is probably why I love nature, because green is the balance point. The process of life and growth inevitably involve the death of one cycle so that another can emerge. This creates the balance. This kind of goes into what I'm saying at the minute. This thing that's happening in the world at the minute is the death of one thing so that something else can be born. We're going to get balance by killing off the old way. We see the physical expression of green in new shoots of plants, in the new shoots of plant growth in the spring. Green is beautiful. Green jade is one of the crystals. Green is the colour we relate to nature, trees and plants. Emotionally, green is a way of relating to everyone and everything in the environment. I love all of that. So, green is such a beautiful colour. My mum doesn't like green, she thinks it's unlucky, but I love it. So it says, did I do the on spiritual level of yellow? Spiritually, yellow represents the ability to know who and what we are. With this ability, we can deflect the unwanted attention of others and unwanted energy from machines in our environment. If we cannot differentiate between ourselves and our surroundings, we become dominated by things outside of ourselves and we feel powerless and weak. That's quite interesting. Yellow, it's quite a powerful one, that. Green. So on a spiritual level, green suggests the capability to do your own thing, regardless of what anyone else says or does. This confirms that at this level we are unique, rather than deliberately eccentric or rebellious. No one can live our lives for us. We can take advice, but ultimately we are responsible for ourselves. Accepting this can free an individual, which in turn gives the opportunity for others to release themselves. I love that. Accepting this, accepting that no one can live our lives, we are responsible for ourselves. Accepting this can free us as an individual, which in turn gives the opportunity for others to release themselves. Beautiful. And it says everyone can then move on to the next phase of growth. which is what the Earth's doing. It's moving us to the next phase of growth together. We then move into turquoise, which I didn't realise that turquoise was like a main colour. I always thought turquoise was I thought it wasn't the main colour really, but she says turquoise is a beautiful blend of blue and green. This was quite fascinating. It was named after the Turks, who decorated their buildings in tiles of this colour, turquoise. So that's why it became Turk. That's quite weird, because then that means colours, the names of colours really don't mean anything. Yeah, the name of a colour is only the name of a colour because somebody named it that, which means that colour exists before language. Yeah. So colour is, that kind of proves that colour is energy, because everything comes after colour. It's quite interesting, this. On an emotional level, turquoise helps the true expression of personal emotions. This reflects the true individual of the person. It says, turquoise creates an easy flow of energy through the physical body that helps relaxation. That's quite interesting. I don't really see much turquoise in my life. Maybe I should start trying to... Yeah, I don't even see it in the shops or anything. It's quite a unique colour, I think. Turquoise is very protective and is greatly valued in the parts of the world where it occurs naturally. That's what I'm saying. It's a natural colour, but to me, it doesn't. It seems like it's a man-made colour, but it's natural. That's quite amazing. Wear some turquoise-coloured clothing when you need to make a stand over an issue you feel strongly about. That's quite interesting. On a spiritual level, turquoise is very protective. The mineral turquoise has been greatly valued in the parts of the world where it occurs naturally. And that's what I said about before. We then move into the colour blue. Probably my favouriteest colour, I think. But in this book, she kind of picked a very purpley looking blue, which I don't really like. I prefer baby blues. But it says, gazing up at the sky on a sunny day, or at the stars on a clear night, the blues, one bright and one very dark, can both instill wonder, peace, and appreciation of the vastness of space and the universe. I think that's quite cool. Blue indicates a flow of energy. The dark blue on a clear, starry night instilled wonder. I just said that. Left. So she's got a crystal. If you are prevented from speaking out, sore throats, earaches and a stiff neck could be the physical result. Very interesting for me, because I've always had a thing about speaking out. Yeah, and I've suffered from sore throats, but yeah, I love the colour blue. Maybe that's why I love blue, because again, maybe my body is pulling the colour blue into my life because it knows that I need it. See, there's definitely something going on here with, like, what's it called? The body is doing things without you realising it, subconsciously. Carrying a blue crystal can reduce these symptoms. Again, little things. I've marked here a little tip. What's this here? Blue therefore becomes an ideal colour to wear if you want to instill confidence in others and to be thought of as someone who is reliable and trustworthy. This is quite interesting. So let's say you were doing a speech. If you wanted to feel like that, if you wanted to come across as reliable and trustworthy, you could wear some blue. So again, when creating a little character, if you're doing a teacher, let's say you're creating a character and this is quite interesting here, because you can really play with this. Let's say you got a character who you know later on in the story is going to be doing something naughty, so they're going to like double cross. But if you wanted the viewer to trust that character, because then when they double cross you and the characters in the book, it will have way more impact because you as the reader have put your trust in them. What you could do is you could make them wear blue. So you make them wear blue, which psychologically is going to make the viewer trust the character. Yeah, see, this is amazing. So you start realising how you can psychologically play with colours to create more impact in your books and in your drawings and stuff, your paintings. It's quite interesting. And then we've got a load of crystals again, one called Blue Topaz. There's a sapphire. I always thought sapphire was red, but sapphire is apparently blue. Oh, it says spiritually. Where is it? Spiritually. There's quite a lot about spiritual things in here. Blue seems to be quite an important colour. Blue represents the realm of subtle perceptions at a spiritual level. These skills include clairvoyance, clairradiance and clairsentience. Skills such as mediumship and the ability to channel information from other sources also relate to the darker shades of blue. That's interesting. All of these types of skills. Yeah, that's interesting. What have we got here? We've got 3 colours left. This podcast is going to be over an hour long, I think. It's quite crazy. So we're on to the colour violet now. Hundreds of years ago, violet and purple dyes were very expensive commodities and were reserved for use by the ruling classes, the clergy and the rich. Yeah, that's kind of why it's kind of gone into society. She's talked about how we now look at violet as a thing like that. Today's shades and tints of violet are often thought of as the most spiritual colours. Interesting. Beautiful crystal in here. It's lilac and all different shades of purple and white. Looks really nice. Emotions that resonate with violet: sympathy, empathy, and the ability to see other people's points of views are revealed by those who work in selfless service for others. That crystal is called amethyst. You can use it to help. I need to burp. I was going to burp then. I was actually going to burp. But that thing can be used to help synchronise your body. There's a quote here that I've marked up as yes. What's it say? A more balanced standpoint is to help others. What's it say? Viewed from a broad perspective, this is emotions that represent a more balanced standpoint is to help others to the maximum of one's ability. Oh yeah, she was talking about how, because the colour purple or violet is about helping others and stuff. You might think about helping others. Again, it's a balance thing. If all you're doing is helping others, you're going to put yourself out of balance. So she's talking about how you need to help yourself, because by helping yourself, you can actually help others more. So it's weird. By helping others less, you could be helping them more. That is really weird. And then she talks about the complementary colour of yellow. It's got yeah, it's really interesting, this book. And then we got more crystal stuff. And it says, violet as a spiritual energy relates to the integration of the spiritual aspects of life with the mundane and practical. Many teachers and gurus say that it is pointless having high ideas and views if we cannot apply them in our daily lives. In other words, keep it real. This is the challenge of violet. That's what she says about. So this is why she says you need yellow to balance it. Because what she said, yellow was all about contentment and cosy, and so yellow is very much, to me, yellow is very much about looking after yourself. Violet is very much about looking after others. So yeah, bring them two together. You're looking after everyone. That's quite beautiful, that. Now into the colour pink, and I've marked a little quote off. Wearing pink is often thought of as a feminine prerequisite. Can't say that word. Prerogative is often thought of as a feminine thing. Yet in many Eastern cultures, red represents the feminine energy and white, the male energy. That's interesting. Yeah, that reminds me of on the video game Persona, and in a lot of these Japanese role-playing games, female characters are always wearing red dresses and stuff, and not pink. So that's probably because they associate red with feminine. That's quite interesting. Whereas violet balances the spectrum extremes of red and blue, pink harmonises the gender polarities of male and female, or yin and yang, expression and receptive. Keeping a piece of rose quartz. This is cool because it sounds to me like pink is a very sort of balancing colour. I like that. Forgiving others often comes more easily if we can come to forgive ourselves first. Pink energy helps with this. So there's a beautiful pink crystal in here as well, and that's called rose quartz. And it says, to increase or balance the pink energy in your life, wear a shade of pink you feel comfortable with. That's quite nice. All the self-issues come from beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world. When we see ourselves as separate or polarised from the world, we tend to hold negative attitudes about ourselves. A very common attitude is the undervaluing of personal skills and roles in society. Visualising pink around ourselves can ease difficult situations. That's nice. My throat's getting a bit sore. Hot chocolate. Brown, hot chocolate brown, which is all about tasty. Brown is tasty. For many people, pink is the colour of unconditional love. I'm going to leave that there. Sounds nice. Rose quartz. Then we're on to the last colour, which is the colour white, which I think is a very mysterious colour. Very mysterious, because it's like, to me, white is like fog. Yeah, so white is very much like black, because with black is like a void. So you know, with a void, you feel that there's something there, but you can't see nothing. And fog, like white, is very much the same thing. It's like the fog, there's nothing there because it's all fog, but you know there is something there because there's something but through the fog. So it's almost like white and black are doing the same thing. They're sort of both hiding and revealing things at the same time, which is quite interesting. It's also very interesting that white and black are like the normal colours of canvases. So you have black canvases and white canvases. It's almost as like there's something in that, I think. She says, the stark reality of white in the physical world hints at its uncompromising nature. And then she talks here about how some cultures see white as death, some see it as like life. When wearing white, the addition of a small amount of another colour will make a huge difference to the response from others. Again, this is all about contrasts. So, yeah, like, let's say you're wearing nothing but white with a little pink rose. You got like a little pink badge on of a rose or something. The whiteness is going to make that pink even more powerful. So it shows you how white is powerful by really sometimes not doing anything. It's like it's bringing contrast. It's the high contrast between colours. It's really that is finished. It's powerful. She says here, the core energy of white is direct and impersonal. It can represent rapid transformation and complete change. Its ability to purify what it connects with, is unsuppressed. Without another colour to soften it, though, white can be an uncomfortable experience. Flower, and then she's clear and white crystals tend to work in the same way and are excellent transmuters and transmitters of energies. And a white crystal there's one called Moonstone, which is nice. And that's basically it. So I'm going to have to go now because I need a drink, and also this podcast's been going for ages, so... Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I really do. I love this. It's given me a greater appreciation of colour, and also what it's done is, I'm going to start thinking about colours now, like the colours that are in my room, the colours that I'm wearing. I'm going to start being more conscious, I suppose, of colour. So I think it's really good, and I think what's really good about this is it's going to come into my artwork. So it's not just a spiritual thing, this. What I've noticed is colour is not just a spiritual thing, it's a creative thing as well. Colour's probably one of the most important things we have as humans, really. So that's basically that. You can find show notes and everything at sophielawson.com. You can find the videos and whatnot at youtube.com/sophielawson. All that's left is this week's inspirational quote. Inspirational. And it goes to Sue Lilly, and it's from this book, and it says, "Colour has a real energy that affects every aspect of the human being." I love that. And that's basically, that sums up this book in a nutshell, really. Colour is energy that affects human beings. So if you're mindful of colours, you can be mindful of how you're affecting yourself and others. Powerful. Powerful. Colour has a real energy that affects every aspect of the human being. Sue Lilly. We like Sue Lilly.